Welcome to this episode of the Building Texas Show. I'm excited to be in Sugarland, Texas, with Mayor McCutcheon, the first female mayor of Sugarland, Texas. And in Sugarland, they're seeing a lot of continued growth. They're seeing what is happening across the state. And I'm excited to dive into why Sugarland continues to thrive going forward into this year. Mayor, thank you for joining us today.
Well, Justin, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
So let's start with you're about 6 months into the role, maybe 8 months now. In what encouraged you to run for mayor of Sugarland?
Well, my husband and I have been residents of Sugarland since 1993, and I just absolutely love Sugarland. I think it's just a very special gem of a place to live. And I had served on Sugarland City Council as a district council member for the past 8 years. And before that, I had graduated from Sugarland 101, from the Sugarland Citizens Police Academy, the Citizens Fire Academy, and Citizens Airport Academy. I've served on the City Charter Review Commission. I'd served on the Land Use Advisory Committee, and I just had always been very, very engaged with the city during the time that we've lived here. And so since I said was serving on council, and it was my last term due to term limits, and then the mayor at the time was term limited, I said, now or never. I said, I want to take this to the next level to have the chance to continue to serve the city that I love.
Well, I always appreciate mayors that have served in all of those roles before becoming mayor because there is a hard learning curve to city business and serving on council, serving on the volunteer boards, board of adjustments,
Mhm.
planning and zoning, et cetera, really do expose people to how does a city work. What would you say you've learned as mayor that would be different than the city council?
Well, after serving for so long, I had a pretty good idea of what I was getting into. But one thing that I've learned is that sometimes listening is more important than speaking.
That's a hard lesson to learn. I struggle with it daily. But it is so important. And cities have mechanisms to really listen to the voters and constituents in different ways. But you also have people that show up every day. And I worry for those folks because oftentimes they come in underinformed. And I think cities do a great job of putting information out, but maybe it's not immediately discoverable. So how do you listen in those moments when a citizen comes in with a misunderstanding of what's happening in Sugarland?
Well, first of all, I do listen to understand what their perspective is, where they're coming from, and then after that, then I provide basically the facts of what the situation is, and so clear up any misunderstanding, misinformation that's out there. And the city does a really great job of communicating through social media, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. We have a website with a wealth of information on there, but as you say, there's a wealth of information out there, and people are so busy. So sometimes they don't have the time to find the information or they don't know exactly how to find the information that's out there. But the city also, puts out e-blast and all sorts of, by email, all sorts of ways to communicate. But we try our best to make sure the residents, have the information that they need.
Well, I want to take a moment and say city staff is always such a helpful group, and they are similar to your demeanor here. They're listeners. They are wanting to help citizens in everything they do, and that's consistent across the state. I think if you're in that kind of role, you understand it. But it is a lot of information when you talk about a city of the size of Sugarland. Your concept comprehensive plans can get really deep and you're looking out 5, 10 years. There's a lot of activity in a growing city like Sugarland. What
Yeah, yes, there is. Yeah, our capital improvement program. We look out 5 years, and yeah, for that.
and those kind of plans are dense, but they can be really insightful to where Sugarland's going and what's causing that expansion. So I always encourage people to look for their master plans or their comprehensive strategic plans because that's going to take that edge off of not in my backyard or where do we fix the potholes.
Mhm, yeah.
Cities always have a wealth of information somewhere on their website to find. So I always want to encourage people to go out and find that. Um, in Sugarland, what is exciting in 2026? Where are you seeing growth and what are you excited about in 2026?
Well, one of the things I'm most excited about is the acquisition of the Imperial Historic District. And we
Okay.
did that last summer. And that is the first time in its 100-year history that the city has owned that site. And it's where Sugarland got started. It's the Char House is the iconic symbol of our city. Developers had owned it for over 20 years, and they had tried to do different development opportunities, but nothing had worked out. So the city made the bold decision last year to buy the land so that we would be in a position to remove the barriers so it could be in turn be developed. And one thing that we did in November is we had 4 days of very robust community engagement where people could come and talk with a consultant individually or come and meet with roundtables with different people and exchange ideas for them to, present their ideas about what they'd like this to look like. And the consultant's going to be bringing a consolidation of all those ideas from the public back to us in the very near future. And so this year, then council is going to come up with a vision for the site. And it'll be a mixed use site, but how can we truly, incorporate the important historical aspects that are there. And then once we come up with a vision for the site, then we'll turn it over to someone to do a design for the site. And then we'll eventually enter into an agreement with the developer for the developer to develop that site. And so that's something that's going to be really, really exciting. And of course, it's going to be a long term project. It's not going to be done in a couple 3 years. It's something that could take 10 or 15 years to fully develop over the time. But we're looking forward to being some sort of a mix of different uses there and some wonderful green spaces, for families to gather.
It's exciting to hear you talk about the heritage of that site as well and ensuring that balance of how do you maintain the historical heritage of the site, but then also provide modern amenities that your citizens are going to want, the green spaces, the walkable trails, etc. So that sounds like a fun project coming to bear for sure.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And then what is Sugarland known for? So if I'm looking at, I want to do a trip somewhere in Texas, what would get me to say, oh, I want to go to Sugarland and spend the weekend there?
Wow. Well, one thing, we've got the Smart Financial Center, and that's a performing arts center, and we bring in performers from all over. So that's an exciting place for people to attend. We also have Constellation Field, where we have the AAA baseball team for the Astros that play there. So that's really exciting. And they have other events that they hold there when there isn't a baseball game. And we have a ton of different parks and walking trails and just really a lot of beautiful outdoor spaces. And Cullinan Park is almost as big as Central Park in New York, and it is a really great place just to go and be outdoors. And then in Sugarland Town Square, where I am right now, there's usually a lot of events on the weekend evenings. Just some local bands performing or movie night or something like that. And there are so many different great restaurants to eat at here. So definitely can keep you busy for a weekend.
It sounds like I need to plan a baseball weekend and come down and take my boys to the game and enjoy Sugarland for a day or two. I
And then one thing we're particularly excited about, Sugarland is a host city supporter of the FIFA World Cup 26. And that's going to be going on in Houston from June 14th to July the 4th. So we're really, really excited about just really showcasing, Sugarland to the world.
don't know that Texas has really paid attention. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised in June when the whole world shows up here in Texas. And Sugarland's doing some exciting things around the World Cup.
We're just really excited to put Sugarland out to the world, get ourselves advertised in the global marketplace, if you will. We'll be having, all sorts of watch parties and youth soccer camps, and cultural events. So things for our residents to do, and then also great things for the guests to do when they come here. Because Sugarland has a airport here. It's an international airport with customs. So we think that there'll be people from all over the world that will be flying right into the Sugarland Regional Airport here. And so we want to have plenty of fun activities for them to do, while they're here. Because I said the games go on for several weeks. So in between those games, we want to have plenty of fun things for our residents and visitors to do.
Now, you just introduced a new piece of information to me. I would not have thought that Sugarland had an international airport.
We are very, very proud of our airport. It's not, commercial. You're not going to have
Yeah.
United flying in here, but yeah, private planes fly in here. I said enough that we have our own customs office. So that's a really big deal for us. We're very proud of it.
And as Texas is hosting the world for the World Cup, what a benefit for a city to attract those people in. And so an airport facility like that is always a neat thing to find in a city.
Oh, yeah. So, and one thing I was gonna say, Sugarland is just such a fabulous place to live. We're a very diverse city, very friendly, very welcoming. So, I say we've got a lot to offer visitors.
Now, how big is Sugarland today?
We've got about 110,000 people.
How do you manage that as mayor? And what would you want citizens to recognize over the next year as a lot of people continue to come into your region?
Yeah. Well, Sugarland is one of the safest cities in the state. We get awards for that all the time for having a great suburban atmosphere, being very livable. In fact, livability.com ranked us as number three last year of being a great place to live. But we've got a groundbreaking that recently occurred on Lake Point Pearl, and it's going to be a multi-family luxury. Uh, Living that's going to be, developed here over the next year or two. So that will bring the opportunity for more young professionals to come into the city. And then also at Lake Point, the former Fleur campus is being demolished, and then that's going to be redeveloped into a residential area. So there'll be more opportunity for more people to move into the city, and also keep attracting those great employers that we have.
And for the employers and site selectors that are saying, well, I'm coming to Texas for the World Cup, what would you want those site selectors to know about Sugarland?
Mm. Well, one thing we have incentives and tax abatements and different things that we can offer employers to attract them to our city. And then also, we still have a sort of a small town feel. So we will have people like walk them through the permits process and help them with all sorts of stuff about, either building a new building or leasing space here in Sugarland. We've got a economic development and also redevelopment staff that are really great to work with.
Well, it's always exciting to see a city that is welcoming the growth that is happening across Texas, and then has the resources and tools to support that competitive site selection. It is hard, especially in the Houston region. There's so many options, but it sounds like Sugarland's really setting itself apart.
Yes, and one of our areas of interest is life sciences. And in fact, last week we just awarded an incentive to Hope Biosciences, who are doing pioneering work in stem cells. And so we are doing that to, signal to the world that we really want to attract more life sciences to our city. And then also, MD Anderson is building a major cancer center here in
Right.
Sugarland. They broke ground for that last year, and it's going to be ready in about 2028. And that's going to be almost 500,000 square feet of, medical office here. So that combined with, Methodist and Memorial Hermann, St. Luke's. We've got really wonderful medical care here in the city as well. And that also lends itself to us focusing on life sciences.
Well, it sounds like an exciting place to be. There's a lot of movement that's occurring in Sugarland. And as we wrap up today, what is your call for the citizens of Sugarland to look around? And I think when we have all of this movement, when we have so much excitement, it's easy to kind of put your head down and miss it. But what do you want the city of Sugarland to really be thinking about in 2026 and be proud of?
Well, says we just have a just incredible city, and city council and our city staff works really hard to keep it strong and vibrant. And we've had just such a really impressive past, but we're not sitting on our laurels. We're really working hard to plan for the future. Like I said, to keep Sugarland just, I said, a very vibrant, inclusive place for decades to come.
Well, I appreciate the time today and I appreciate the conversation about Sugarland. It definitely sounds like a place to be. And for the World Cup efforts, I applaud that you're setting up a creative way for the people to be involved in the World Cup there in Houston and to welcome the international guests that are going to come to your airport. And what a launching point for people coming into Houston through Sugarland and then really discovering everything you have to offer there.
Yes, I do wanna add, we are giving, 100 free weddings in Sugar Land. I think
Wow.
it's fully booked for that's the city's gift for Valentine's Day. The first 100 couples to sign up are going to have a free wedding here at Sugar Land Town Square, and a reception, so that's something fun. But anyway, like I said, as the first, woman mayor of Sugar Land, I could not be more excited about our city and our community.
Well, where can people find more information? Where would you, as the mayor, guide people to learn about Sugarland?
Well, our website is sugarlandtx.gov, and there's a search bar there, so you can search whatever topic that you want. We also have a website just for FIFA, and that's sugarland26.com. And then on Facebook, there's the City of Sugarland Government. We also have Sugarland Parks and Recreation and a number of other social media sites out there. So, anyway, I just encourage everybody to, you know, get involved or stay involved with our city. Yeah, it's because I said just check us out on social media. We've got a large presence there.
Well, thank you so much. And it is exciting to talk to you today, to learn about Sugarland, and then to just look in the year ahead. It sounds like every weekend there's going to be something to do in Sugarland as we come into the year. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. There is always something really fun going on in the city.
Well, I look forward to making my way to Sugarland in the near future. And thank you so much, Mayor McCutcheon, for your time today and the conversation.
Well, if you make it to Sugarland, let me know so I can say hi in person.
I'll look forward to it.
Okay, great. Thanks again for your time, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us at the Building Texas Show. We're excited to share stories from across the state, covering the future of work and what Texas is going to look like over the next 50 years. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.